A whisper at 3 a.m. broke the internet. But this wasn't just any sound. It was an ancient Vedic chant stripped of context. Weaponized with a hypnotic pulse and subliminal frequencies, the algorithm detected the emotional resonance in the first 1,000 shares. It knew this wasn't noise. It was a contagion. The recommendation engines began pushing it aggressively. By the time the sun rises over Silicon Valley, the mantra has been embedded in TikTok videos, YouTube Shorts, and even Instagram Reels. Users are lip-syncing, swaying, and closing their eyes as if guided by an unseen force. The videos are short, punchy, and designed to be consumed in under 10 seconds. Each share, each like, each comment amplifies the signal. The platform's feedback loop is now self-sustaining. The users themselves are unaware of the orchestration. They believe they're participating in a spontaneous movement, a grassroots spiritual awakening. But the timing is too precise, the reach too vast, the synchronization too flawless. It's not organic. It's engineered. The mantra's rhythm is designed to trigger a specific neurological response, one that makes listeners feel connected, even if they've never met. This is the power of behavioral contagion. Meet Sarah, a 28-year-old graphic designer in Barcelona. She first heard the mantra while scrolling through TikTok during her lunch break. At first, it felt like background noise, something to ignore, but then something shifted. The rhythm began to pull her in, her breath syncing with the beat without her realizing it. She started to sway, then hum along, and before she knew it, she was fully immersed. Sarah's experience is replicated millions of times across the globe. Each person's journey begins similarly, indifferent, then intrigued, and finally, completely absorbed. The mantra isn't just being heard, it's being felt. The algorithm ensures that the moment of immersion is captured and shared, creating a ripple effect that spreads like wildfire. The more people feel it, the more they want others to feel it too. The surrender signature is the moment when users report feeling an inexplicable sense of release, as if they've let go of something heavy. For Sarah, it happened mid-chant, her shoulders dropping, her eyes closing. She described it as being carried by the sound, a feeling of unity with something greater. This signature moment is critical. It's the emotional anchor that binds participants to the trend, making them more likely to share their experience and invite others to join. What's fascinating is how this phenomenon mirrors ancient spiritual practices, yet feels entirely modern. Traditional rituals often involve communal gatherings, sacred spaces, and guided leaders, but this chant trend thrives in isolation, on personal devices, with no central authority. The algorithm acts as the unseen guide, curating the experience to maximize engagement. It's a digital temple, where each user is both priest and pilgrim. The contrast between authentic spiritual practice and this engineered virality is stark. Authentic rituals often require time, intention, and a community of like-minded individuals. They're about connection, growth, and transformation. This trend, however, is about instant gratification, algorithmic reinforcement, and the illusion of connection. It's a spiritual experience without the depth, a communal feeling without the substance. Consider the comments section beneath a viral chant video. Users share their surrender experiences, their feelings of unity, their moments of transcendence. Yet, there's a hollow quality to these confessions. They lack the depth of personal reflection, the nuance of shared struggle, or the richness of communal growth. Instead, they're performative, designed to elicit validation from the algorithm and the community. It's a digital confession booth. But without the priest, the algorithm doesn't just spread the mantra, it spreads the feeling of it. It's a masterclass in emotional contagion, leveraging the brain's hardwired tendency to mimic and synchronize with others. When users see their friends engaging with the trend, their own neural pathways light up in anticipation. The desire to belong, to feel part of something bigger, overrides rational thought. It's a perfect storm of psychology and technology. The speed at which this trend took off, from an obscure audio clip to a global phenomenon in 72 hours, is nothing short of miraculous. But it's not magic. It's the result of meticulous engineering. Every element, from the rhythm to the timing, from the visuals to the comments, is designed to maximize engagement. The algorithm knows what triggers the surrender signature, what content resonates most, and how to keep users coming back for more. Imagine if this wasn't just a chant, but a movement that could be weaponized. What if the surrender signature wasn't about unity, but about compliance? The same mechanisms that create a sense of connection can also be used to control behavior, to influence thoughts, and to shape beliefs. The line between spiritual awakening and psychological manipulation is thinner than it seems. The phenomenon of viral rituals isn't just a quirk of the digital age. It's a glimpse into the future of human behavior. As algorithms grow smarter, they'll continue to exploit the brain's vulnerabilities, creating experiences that feel deeply personal yet are entirely engineered. The question isn't whether this trend will continue, but what it means for our sense of self, our connections, and our very humanity. This is how rituals go viral, not through divine inspiration, but through algorithmic precision. The chant trend is just the beginning. The real question is whether we'll recognize the difference between genuine connection and engineered surrender before it's too late. The year is 1963. Inside a sterile white room at the University of Chicago, scientists place volunteers in isolation tanks. Pitch-black voids where sound becomes the only anchor. They whisper of a threshold, where the mind, stripped of sensory input, begins to invent its own reality. This is where the modern pursuit of engineered ecstasy was born. John C. Lilly, a pioneer in sensory deprivation, records subjects reporting visions of luminous beings, voices from nowhere, and an overwhelming sense of unity. One participant describes it as being carried by an invisible current. This is the first documented surrender signature, the moment the mind surrenders to suggestion. But Lilly's work was just the beginning. By 1968, researchers at the University of Michigan began experimenting with rhythmic auditory stimulation. They found that when volunteers listened to repetitive beats at a specific frequency, their brainwaves synchronized into a state resembling deep meditation, or even sleepwalking. The mind, it seemed, could be guided like a ship on autopilot. Meanwhile, in a classified lab at the Naval Medical Research Institute, scientists were exploring a different kind of induction. The God helmet, a device wrapped around the head with electromagnetic coils, was designed to simulate the experience of divine presence. Subjects reported feeling an overwhelming sense of connection, as if they were being watched, or even spoken to, by an unseen entity. The military had found a way to create surrender without drugs. The implications were staggering. If scientists could engineer ecstasy in a lab, what could they do with it? The CIA and the Pentagon took notice. By 1972, they were funding research into rhythmic entrainment as a potential compliance tool, using sound and light to bypass resistance, to make people suggestible, even obedient. The mind, it turned out, could be hacked like a computer. We upload videos like this every day. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Television. Fast forward to the present. The same principles, rhythmic auditory stimulation, sensory deprivation, and the manipulation of brainwaves, are now embedded in the algorithms of your phone. Viral sounds, repetitive chants, and even TikTok trends are designed to trigger that same surrender response. The difference? Today, it's not just the military who knows how to hack your mind. It's everyone. The God helmet experiments laid the groundwork for what we now call neurospiritual engineering. Researchers discovered that by combining rhythmic light flashes with specific sound frequencies, they could induce a state of altered consciousness in mere minutes. This wasn't just meditation, it was a controlled, repeatable experience, one that could be dialed up or down like a volume knob. One of the most revealing studies came from Dr. Robert Monroe, who in 1971 documented how subjects could train their minds to enter altered states at will. He called it consciousness hacking. The military took note, and by 1973, the CIA was funding his work under the guise of remote viewing research. Little did they know, they were unknowingly paving the way for the digital age of mass surrender. The military's interest wasn't just academic. They wanted a way to control information flow, to make soldiers suggestible, to bypass critical thinking when necessary. By 1975, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, was funding research into psychic warfare, exploring how sound and light could be used to manipulate perception on the battlefield. The goal? A weapon that didn't require bullets, just the right frequency. But the breakthrough came not in the military, but in the world of music. By 1983, a composer named Brian Eno was experimenting with ambient soundscapes designed to induce relaxation and altered states. His work, combined with the rhythmic techniques developed in the labs, laid the foundation for what we now call binaural beats. These are sound waves that, when played through headphones, create the illusion of a third tone in the brain, one that can sync brainwaves into a trance-like state. Here's the terrifying part. The same techniques used to induce ecstasy in a lab are now embedded in the algorithms that drive social media, viral sounds, repetitive chants, and even the way TikToks for you page curates content. All of it is designed to keep you engaged, to make you lose track of time, to make you surrender to the rhythm. The military wanted compliance. Today, the tech giants want your attention, and they've perfected the art of the surrender circuit. The lineage is clear. From the isolation tanks of the 1960s to the viral sounds of today, the tools haven't changed, only the scale. What began as an experiment in compliance has become a global phenomenon, one that shapes how we think, feel, and even who we believe we are. The question now is, are we still in control, or have we already surrendered? The experiments of the past weren't just about creating ecstasy, they were about control, and now, that control has been handed to the algorithms. The question is no longer whether we can be hacked, but how long we'll let them keep us in the loop. Inside every human skull lies a network of neurons humming with quiet authority. This is the default mode network, active when we daydream or overthink. It's the voice that whispers, "I am in control." But what happens when this network goes silent? Repetitive chanting doesn't just fill the air. It rewires the mind. Neural pathways quiet like a river running still. The ego's voice fades into the background noise of existence. This is the surrender signature, when the mind stops resisting. But what drives us to seek this state? Anticipation triggers a biochemical reward. Dopamine floods the system. The brain craves the release like a drug, but natural. The opioid system kicks in, dulling the edge of self-awareness. The brain doesn't just want control, it wants the illusion of it. A blue checkmark or a high view count becomes the new guru. Authority bias rewires faster than common sense. The brain rewards surrender more than actual autonomy. A dimly lit bedroom. A phone glows with a breathwork tutorial. The voice whispers, "Inhale for 4, exhale for 8. This isn't meditation. It's the first step into a funnel. Free. Addictive, designed to hook. The tutorial ends. A notification pops up. Join the live session for deeper activation. The algorithm knows once you've tasted the trance, you'll crave more. The real money isn't in the free lesson. It's in what comes next. Inside a sleek, minimalist studio, a spiritual influencer adjusts a microphone. Her voice is warm, her energy magnetic. She's not selling enlightenment. She's selling the experience of it through a paid retreat. The script is identical to the free tutorial, but now it's wrapped in luxury. Participants arrive at the retreat, their phones now silent. They're led into a room where strobe lights flash in sync with a rhythmic chant. The environment is controlled: temperature, sound, even the scent of sandalwood. Every variable is engineered to trigger surrender. The goal isn't enlightenment, it's compliance. Back home, participants post about their activation on social media. Their captions are filled with euphoria, gratitude, and a sense of belonging. The comments section becomes a digital altar, where they confess, validate, and reinforce each other's surrender. This is the crowdsource cult, where the algorithm curates conformity. Meanwhile, a sleek black wearable device sits on a table. It's not just a fitness tracker, it's a biohacking tool. It measures heart rate variability, brainwave patterns, and even predicts when a user is in a trance state. The data is shared, gamified, and turned into a social currency. Surrender isn't just felt. It's quantified. Inside a dimly lit office, a team of data scientists reviews analytics. They track which chants, sounds, and visuals trigger the highest surrender rates. The data is fed back into the algorithm, refining the induction scripts to maximize compliance. It's not about spirituality anymore. It's about optimization. A woman sits alone in her apartment, staring at her phone. She feels a pull, an urge to engage with the latest spiritual trend. Her brain is primed. Her dopamine receptors are sensitive. The algorithm knows exactly when to push. She taps follow. The cycle begins anew. This time, she might not even realize she's being manipulated. The screen flashes with a notification. Join the next live session. She hesitates. Her mind whispers, what if this time it's different? The question lingers, but the algorithm doesn't wait. It's already preparing the next trigger, the next moment of surrender. The cycle is relentless, and she's not the only one caught in it. A doctor in a white coat examines a brain scan. She points to a region that lights up under rhythmic stimulation. This is where the surrender happens, she explains. The brain rewards the feeling of letting go more than actual control. The revelation is chilling. The system isn't just manipulating behavior. It's rewiring the very foundation of autonomy. A woman stands in front of a mirror, touching her face. She feels a strange sensation, like she's being watched, controlled. She realizes her phone is buzzing with a notification. The algorithm is testing her again. This time, she decides to fight back. She turns off her phone, steps away from the mirror, and breathes deeply. The first step toward cognitive inoculation begins. The screen fades to black as a text overlay appears. Recognize the markers, question the triggers, reclaim your autonomy. The camera lingers on the words, each one a call to action. The fight isn't over, but now, there's a path forward. The surrender circuit can be rewired. The choice is yours. Hi there. If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Tomorrow's video will reveal this secret. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Shushing face.